Okay, guys, today we are going to be talking about religion. This is just an introductory religion lesson, and we're not really going to get into any of the um, major religions today. First, we want to look at what religion is and what it has to do with culture, because this is the last subunit in our culture unit. So when we look at religion, we need to know that it's one of the foundational pieces of culture. It and language are two of the things that reflect a group of people and their identity. It also really is reflected in the cultural landscape. You can look at the cultural landscape and see it in the buildings. You can see it in burial areas like cemeteries or shrines. Of course, you've got churches, mosques, statues. There are different types of religious symbols that we see marking the cultural landscape all over the world. Also, when we look at culture, we can see it in the style of dress that people wear. Sometimes people wear beards, or sometimes it's very conservative clothing. And so these are some of the major influences that we see in culture. When we look at a definition of what religion is, a religion by definition is a system of beliefs and practices that attempt to order life in terms of cultural perceived ultimate priorities. So here we're looking at priorities like, should I say this, or should I do this, or should I wear this, should I eat this? Essentially, we're looking at one's ethics. In a lot of religions, what we're looking at is that you are rewarded for living a good and moral, ethical life, and you are punished for taking and making bad choices or risky behavior. And so, religions, a lot of the ways that they encourage people to do right is because there's some ultimate reward in the end. Now, within each religion, we see that every religion has some sort of ritual or prayers. Most of them are going to have something to mark important births, of course, some sort of ceremony for deaths. Um, there are many that have a ceremony for some sort of attainment of adulthood, and then we see all religions have some sort of ceremony marking in marriages. We also know that many religions and philosophies have holidays within them, and or they attend some sort of temple or synagogue or mosque or church on a specific day of the week. Now, what we know is that in some countries, we're starting to see more and more what we call secularism. That is a very important word for you to learn. So when people are involved in a secular lifestyle, religion is becoming less important. And around the world, we are seeing this influence from time to time. What we're seeing is even in these places, though, that secularism is prevailing, that you can still look back and you can see religion in their art, their history, their various customs and beliefs and dress. Now, what we are also starting to see is what we call syncretic religions. And these are religions essentially that blend religious beliefs and traditions and form new religions. So essentially what you're getting here is they take, for instance, pieces of Christianity and pieces of Hinduism and blend them together. Um, Essentially what you're getting here is some sort of compromising religion, or where, we look and we say, well, I can handle this, and I dislike these parts of the religion, so I'm going to compromise and form my own religion. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is, where did the major religions originate and how do religions diffuse? There are three categories of religions. We have monotheistic religions, where there is one god or deity; polytheistic religions, where there is more than one god or deity. Sometimes it numbers into the thousands here. And then we have animistic religions where they believe that inanimate objects possess spirits and should be revered. When we're talking about inanimate objects, maybe it's like the water or a mountain or the air. Now, if you look at the map on this slide, you can see that it shows you your major world religions and where they're practiced predominantly. You'll notice that, for instance, the dark purple area, that is where you find Christianity predominantly. So in a lot of sub-Saharan Africa, Western and Eastern Europe, and then all of the Western Hemisphere. Or if you look at the orange area, which is the Saharan part of Africa, Southwest Asia, Central Asia, you'll see primarily Islamic communities. This map again shows you some of the major world religions. However, if you'll notice, especially with Christianity and Islam, it breaks them into the branches of the faith. So if you look at the red, those are primarily Protestant Christians, while the blue are primarily Catholic Christians. Or if you look at the green, those are primarily Sunni Muslims, where the maroon color is primarily Shiite Muslims. So the next thing we want to talk about is Zoroastrianism. This is a little known faith that many people are not very familiar with, but this is one of the earlier religions. It developed in the Middle East or Southwest Asia around 3,500 years ago. And what we know is that you can trace a lot of the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim beliefs back to Zoroastrian. Now we also look at the diffusion of religions like philosophies as well as religions. So a philosophy is something where sometimes you don't necessarily have gods. However, the Greeks are a little bit different. It's actually very much polytheistic. As you know, most of you are familiar with the location of Greece, and its hearth was the Mediterranean Sea. Or if you look at Hinduism, its hearth is along the Indus River Valley in northern India. Or if you look, are looking for the hearth of Judaism, then you can see that it is in the eastern Mediterranean region. If you take a second to look at this is a really interesting pie chart that I always like to show because it kind of shows the religions broken down by percentage of people who are practicing each of them. And just take a second, make some notes of your major religions. It's important to know that Roman Catholic and Protestant and also other Christians are all groups of Christians, and they should be added together, as well as the Sunni and Shiite Muslims, those should be added together. When we look at religions, religions can essentially be looked at in two ways. We've got universalizing and ethnic religions. Universalizing religions are out actively seeking new converts. They're wanting people to become part of their religion. This is called proselytizing. That's a word that you need to know. You'll see that again. They are offering their religion up, and the three major religions that are considered universalizing religions are Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism. Now, ethnic religions, the adherents are born into the faith. Generally, people do not convert to these faiths, and they are not out actively seeking people to convert. The major world religions that are considered ethnic religions are Judaism and Hinduism. Okay, well, that's it for this one. Make sure that you take notes and go back and look at it if you need to. Thanks.